Hello everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for watching. Today, we're looking at a piece of kitchen history that is virtually indestructible. It's a tool that has traveled across oceans, survived house fires, and been passed down through 5 generations. We're talking about cast iron. For over 3 centuries, cast iron cookware has remained a cornerstone of American kitchens, outlasting cooking trends and more modern innovations. As today's cooks increasingly seek sustainable, healthy cookware, cast iron's time-tested benefits have gained renewed appreciation. While other cookware materials come and go, cast iron's enduring appeal lies in its fundamental qualities, a unique combination of practicality, sustainability, and connection to culinary tradition. Many people think cast iron is a 19th-century American invention, but its story actually begins thousands of years ago and thousands of miles away. Today, we'll trace its journey from ancient China to the legendary foundries of the USA, learn how to identify those hidden treasures in antique stores, thrift stores, and I'll show you exactly how to bring a dead, rusty pan back to life. Cast iron wasn't invented by one person. It originated in ancient China during the Han Dynasty, around 220 AD. These early innovators developed the blast furnace to melt iron or pouring it into sand molds. Originally, this was for weapons and plowshares, but eventually, they realized it made for incredible cookware, kettles, and pots. In 1707 in Europe, a Quaker Abraham Darby is the most significant figure in the history of the cast iron pan. An iron master from England who changed everything. In 1707 he patented a specialized sand molding process, allowing for the mass production of thinner, higher quality, lighter, and most importantly, cheaper iron pots and kettles. His technique made cast iron affordable and accessible for everyday household use in Europe. Early pans actually had 3 legs and a handle. They were called spiders because they had to sit directly in the coals of a fireplace. It wasn't until indoor stoves became common in the 18th and 19th centuries that the legs disappeared, giving us the flat-bottom skillets we know today. The Dutch oven. Popularized in the 16th century, these pots were refined using Darby's methods, setting the stage for the classic pans. In America, the story begins in the 1640s at the Saugus Iron Works in Massachusetts. A man named Joseph Jenks Sr. is credited with casting the very first Saugus pot. But the golden age of the American skillet didn't hit its stride until the late 1800s. In the 18th and 19th centuries, several iconic brands emerged that standardized the modern cast iron skillet. While early settlers used cast iron pots brought from Europe, a golden age of American manufacturing began in the late 19th century with brands that standardized the modern skillet. Iconic American manufacturers. The era of the big 3 manufacturers is. While early settlers used cast iron pots brought from Europe, a golden age of American manufacturing began in the late 19th century with brands that standardized the modern skillet. A vintage American cast iron pan. You can look for specific logos and manufacturing marks that changed over the decades. You're at the market and see a crusty old pan. How do you know if it's a $100 treasure or a $5 piece of scrap? Let's look at the marks. Here are the key identifiers for the major U.S. brands. In 1865, Griswold was founded by Matthew Griswold in Erie, Pennsylvania. Griswold is considered the gold standard for collectors due to its high-quality casting and clear dating history. This company became the premier manufacturer of high-quality, famous cast iron, known for a glass-smooth finish and Erie logo. In 1891, Wagner was founded by the Wagner brothers in Sydney, Ohio. They were Griswold's main rivals and known for their incredibly lightweight, high-quality Wagner ware. In 1896, Lodge was founded by Joseph Lodge as the Blacklock Foundry in South Pittsburgh, Tennessee. Following a fire in 1910, It was rebuilt as Lodge cast iron and is now the oldest, longest, and only major manufacturer still running in the US. A vintage American cast iron pan, you can look for specific logos and manufacturing marks that changed over the decades. 1. The Griswold Gold Standard. Erie, Pennsylvania. Griswold is considered the gold standard for collectors due to its high-quality casting and clear dating history. Erie, 1880 to 1907. Before the Griswold name was featured prominently, pans were simply marked Erie in quotes or block letters. Slant logo, 1906 to 1929. The word Griswold appears in an italic, slanted font inside a circle with a cross. If it also says EPU, Erie, Pennsylvania, USA, it usually dates toward the end of this range, 1909 to 1929. Large block logo, 1920 to 1940. The name Griswold is in straight block letters inside the circle. Small block logo, 1939 to 1957. A much smaller version of the block logo, roughly 2 inches wide. These were the last pans made at the original Erie foundry. 2. Wagner Ware, Sydney, Ohio. Wagner pans are known for being lightweight and having a very smooth cooking surface. Arc logo, 1891 to 1910. The name Wagner is arched across the top of the pan. Stylized logo, 1920 to 1959. Features Wagner Ware in a script-like font where the W in Wagner and Ware is shared. With heat ring, generally 1920 to 1935. Smooth bottom, generally 1935 to 1959. Made in USA, 1960s. Present if the pan says Made in USA, it was produced after 1960, often after the company was sold and quality began to shift toward mass production. 3. The Lodge Mystery, South Pittsburgh, Tennessee. Lodge is unique because they rarely used a logo until modern times, making them harder to date. Lodge is tricky because they rarely use logos. Look for notches in the heat ring, the raised circle on the bottom. 1 notch is the 1930s, 3 notches is 1940s through the 80s. Arc logo, 1910, 1930s. A rare early marking where Lodge is written in an arc. Single notch, 1930s. Features 1 notch, a small gap, in the heat ring at the 12 o'clock position. 3 notch, 1940s, 1987. The most common vintage Lodge. The heat ring has 3 notches at the 9, 12, and 3 o'clock positions. Pre-1960s, no, Made in USA mark. 1960s, 1987, includes a Made in USA stamp. Egg logo, 1973, present the modern logo featuring a skillet with an egg inside forming the letter O. Gate mark, a thin, raised line of iron on the bottom, looks like a scar. This indicates the pan was made before 1910 using older casting methods. Heat ring, a raised rim on the very outer edge of the bottom. These were common on pans made before 1940 to help them sit securely on wood-burning stove eyes. That pan is a piece of history. Smooth bottom. Most pans transitioned to a flat, smooth bottom after 1940 to accommodate electric and gas ranges. How to restore an old or rusty pan. Scrub it down. Use steel wool or a stiff brush with warm water and a little mild dish soap to scrub away all rust and old food. This is the only time it is highly recommended to use soap on cast iron because we are stripping it to the bare metal. The potato hack. For lighter rust, pour coarse salt into the pan and use half a raw potato to scrub the surface until the rust lifts. The moisture from the potato and the grit of the salt work wonders. Deep cleaning. The vinegar soak. If it's really bad, soak the pan in a 50-50 mixture of white vinegar and water for no more than 1 to 4 hours. Warning, don't leave it for more than 4 hours, or the acid will eat the iron and damage the iron. Then dry it completely. Immediately dry the pan with a towel. To ensure every bit of moisture is gone, which prevents flash rusting, place it on a stovetop burner over low heat for 2 to 5 minutes. Dry it immediately on the stovetop. If you let it air dry, it will flash rust before your eyes. How to season your pan. Seasoning isn't just putting oil on a pan. It's a chemical process called polymerization. We are turning liquid fat into a hard, plastic-like protective layer. When it comes to seasoning cast iron, flaxseed oil is often considered the scientific gold standard because it undergoes a superior transformation during the heating process compared to other fats. Flaxseed oil is a drying oil, extremely high in alpha-linolenic acid. During the heating process, these fatty acids cross-link to form a hard, glass-like patina that adheres aggressively to iron, resulting in a tough, dark, and highly durable non-stick surface. Apply a thin coat of oil. While the pan is slightly warm, rub a tiny amount of oil, about a dime-sized drop, over the entire surface inside, outside, and the handle. Buff it dry. Use a clean paper towel to wipe the oil off until the pan looks dry or matte, not greasy. Too much oil will make the pan sticky. Bake upside down. Preheat your oven to 450 to 500 degrees Fahrenheit. Place the pan upside down on the middle rack. Place foil on the bottom rack to catch any stray drips, and bake for 1 hour. Cool in the oven. Turn off the heat and let the pan cool completely inside the oven. This allows the seasoning to cure. For a truly non-stick surface, repeat this oiling and baking process 3 to 4 times for a true non-stick finish. For over 300 years, cast iron has been a cornerstone of the kitchen. It's sustainable, it's healthy, and it connects us to the cooks of the past. Whether it's a brand new Lodge or a 100-year-old Griswold, these pans are meant to be used, loved, and passed down. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey through iron and fire. I hope this inspires you to go find a vintage pan of your own. What's your go-to seasoning oil? Flaxseed, grapeseed, or just good old-fashioned Crisco? Bacon is the classic, but what is the one food you think seasons a pan better than anything else? Are you currently working on turning your rough pan into a mirror? Let me know how the journey is going.